Tired?
Boy.
Yeah, we knocking on 40's door.
Man.
Shit is
That shit
real.
crazy.
The shit is real. I was just talking to one of my coworkers and they were trying to get like birthdays together. And I don't know if y'all seen that viral thing where people going around the office like, "Hey, Triz, what year were you born?" And you say 19, and then it freezes and they put the prehistoric backdrop behind it or the ice age.
That.
I ain't seen that.
So she was going around doing one of those. I was like, yeah, I was born in 1989, and she just hit me with the. I'm like, bitch, if you don't sit your young ass down, still wet behind the ears type shit. But nah, shit, but we gonna make 40 look good.
Hell yeah.
We gonna make 40 look good. So
Without
wake your
doubt.
ass up, nigga.
Bruh, listen, it's funny. It didn't really hit me until one of the cats I was hanging with yesterday. He talking a mile a minute. He was like, yeah, this. And and I was born in 2005, and I was like, nigga, I graduated high school in 2005.
He could literally be your son.
Dog, I'm like,
Type shit.
what the fuck is this? Yeah, so I'm like, yeah, I should be at home at this point of the conversation. That let me know I should leave. I should leave. Y'all got it.
I wanted to share with y'all. I watched the series this week. I kept seeing people talking about it. So, me and my wife was like, all right, well, we having dinner. We gonna see what this series is about. It's called All Her Fault.
I want to check that one out.
On Peacock. You want to check it out?
Check that one.
Please.
It's good.
Please let me know your thoughts.
Definitely.
Please let me know your thoughts.
How many episodes?
It's 8.
8? Limited series, so it's just the one and done?
It should be.
Okay.
We'll see.
Somebody dies.
We'll see what they do, but I think it was a big success. So who knows? This day and age, they'll force anything. But yeah, nigga was hooked. And
That's
then
what's up.
They must have
and
pissed
then
you
shit
off.
started happening, and I was just like, all right, okay, next episode.
And then boom.
What the fuck is going on? What are we doing?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna start that.
Yeah,
You said it's on Peacock?
it's on Peacock.
All right.
The acting is good. Y'all are story driven individuals. So I just really want to know, am I tripping or not?
All right.
Got you.
So y'all
I don't even know what that's based around or
I'm
on.
trying to
but
keep it.
Just knowing you probably tripping. You probably tripping, bro. But I'm a dive into it and see.
I think y'all. I
You think we're gonna agree with
y'all
you?
gonna agree with me on this one. I think y'all gonna agree with me on this one.
We'll see.
Okay.
I have a feeling. Maybe not completely, but I think you'll understand
Where you
my
coming from?
yeah, my I don't want to call it concern, but just what the fuck?
That's what you call it.
Everybody has a what the fuck. So
It was just like
what the fuck?
what the fuck? Yeah, I
I'll
don't
check
know.
it out. Did you watch His and Hers?
That's next.
Okay.
Okay.
See, that's the
Yeah.
one I need your thoughts on.
That's next. Yeah.
You
I'm-
got check that one out because it's gonna be the same thing. You
And
watch the
that's
first
what I
one, it's
heard.
like, okay, some stuff happening. Then it's,
Mm-hmm.
what the fuck? What
I
the
seen that one.
fuck?
And I'm wondering, is that just the new
The new wave.
wave?
It's gotta be. They gotta hook you in.
Because there was another Netflix show that I was told to watch because I was explaining all her fault, and they were like, "Oh, that sounds like this. I think it's called Fool Me Once or something." But I was recommended to check that out if I
I think
if
I scrolled past that
enjoyed.
last night.
Oh, you saw
I
on
scrolled
Netflix?
past it. I didn't watch it.
If I enjoyed All Her Fault, and I was like, "What? Yeah, I enjoyed it. I just had a lot of questions." A lot of questions. A lot of questions. That's what I'll say. I wouldn't say it was bad. It left me with a lot of questions.
So it was incomplete? It felt incomplete?
It didn't feel incomplete. I had more questions that I would love to sit in the writer's room and ask them. Why?
That's the only question you ever want to ask a writer is why?
Why?
Why did you do that?
Why and how? How did we get here? Why are we here?
Now I really got to check this shit out.
Why are we here? Especially the way. Okay, I'm just gonna leave. Especially the way it starts. I'm just like, oh, this is about to be one of them ones, and then I'm like, it's entertaining, but
what the fuck happened?
What are we doing?
So it
That's
sounds like
funny.
there's a letdown. Okay. It's okay. You're gonna justify it. I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna let you know.
Because I'm so confused. I don't know if I'm let down or if I'm just like,
What the
what
fuck?
the fuck? that's the only way I can describe it is what the fuck. There are no words, no other words.
Well,
that I
whether
know.
it's one of us or not, I'm sure there's many other people who feel the same way.
I did get some feedback that they enjoyed it, but they understand my what the fuck.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, so
they understand it, but did they agree with it?
they didn't say whether or not they
Okay.
agreed. They was just
Okay.
like, I enjoyed it. And I'm like, I enjoyed it too, but what the fuck? And they was like, oh yeah, I get it. Once we get to the end, I agree with the what the fuck. And I'm like, oh okay,
That's
all right.
funny.
So I don't think I'm tripping, but you know, I want y'all to come on and officially let me know,
No doubt.
Definitely.
like you've done in the past,
Oh yeah.
whether
definitely.
or not I'm
Check
tripping.
this out.
But it got me thinking about the what's the Ben Affleck The Rip.
I haven't seen that shit.
I
Me
haven't
either.
either.
I gotta check it
But
out.
I'm like,
It's on my list, like to check out immediately.
Yeah.
So
but the whole thing about them like dumbing down the content
Yeah,
or
yeah.
constantly repeating.
well, it's
the plot.
because you're always in your phone or having secondary conversations, so they just trying to make sure even if you do entertain something aside from this film, you still understand it and you can appreciate it at the end. Which is why I was a fan of his and hers, because I didn't even touch my phone while I was watching.
You can't.
I was
You watched it too?
Shit.
Oh shit! Okay, I'm gonna watch it this weekend.
Yeah, no, it was different.
I don't even
'Cause
know
I
what my
love
phone
Tessa.
was
It was
during
I
it.
love
different.
Tessa Thompson.
Man, Tessa's tight.
Yeah.
Tessa is tight, man.
Yeah.
Tessa is
And
tight.
that's
It's a
that's
good
a limited
story, man.
series
Yep.
too.
Yep.
8 episodes.
8 episodes.
I think it was.
I thought it was 8. It was
Oh,
6.
It's 6. I think.
Oh, even,
I think it's
even
6. It might be
better.
8, but I think it's 6. Either way it
don't
goes, I
matter.
made it through it.
Limited,
Right.
Yeah, it's
Well, after you recommended Forever, I'll take all your limited series
hey,
recommendations.
come on, man. They be running, bro. The limit. Okay,
Yeah.
you gonna come in at limited series.
That's hilarious.
I'll take all those recommendations
For sure.
because Forever was my shit.
Hey, no, waiting on that one to come back.
No, yeah, I'm a huge fan of Tessa. I watched they did a adaptation of Hedda Gabler that she was in, and the movie was cool. It's not something that I would go run and see, but her acting, like she was
On point.
She was killing it. Had a little dialect, a little slight British dialect going on. Very, high class. It was good.
That's what's up.
But yeah, no, I was thinking about that interview that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon did regarding The Rip and how Netflix is asking their creators to constantly repeat the main plot point. And as I was watching all her fought, I'm like, wow, I guess Peacock is not sending out that memo. To their creators.
Say, pay attention.
Right.
Oh, I was paying
But
attention.
like
and you
had
had
to
to
sit down and watch it.
You had to.
Watching something, if I keep hearing the same thing over and over, I'm going to turn it off.
We've
off.
been
I
here
just
before.
think it's poorly written.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been here
But,
before.
you ran out of words.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Nah, we'll leave it at that. They didn't run out of nothing, but y'all y'all let me know.
Definitely will.
All right, welcome to the Lock Picture Podcast, where we discuss all things film and a little TV too, as you just heard. I'm your host, Marques, and you know I got my A1s in the studio, Triz and Lloyd. Before we jump into anything, please hit that subscribe button and join the Lock Picture Podcast family. Appreciate it. You know, last week we discussed Black film canon, and two films came up in our conversation regarding films that are widely considered Black cinema classics. So today we are going to war. Boyz n the Hood versus Menace to Society. We'll dive into four key aspects of the film: story, performance, technical elements, and effectiveness, and see which one comes out on top. Before we start, gentlemen, I just wanted to just give a little recap of what the critic consensus is behind these two films. Take it with a grain of salt. This is Rotten Tomatoes. Whether you follow them or not, this is where a pool of critics bring their opinions about a film. And so here's what they have to say about Boyz n the Hood. Well acted and thematically rich, Boyz n the Hood observes Black America with far more depth and compassion than many of the like-minded films its success inspired. All right. Menace to Society, told with grit and verve by the Hughes brothers in their feature debut, Menace to Society is a gangland epic that breathes with authenticity while steeped in style. So that's what we're dealing with those two films. And it kind of goes to prove your point, Lloyd, last week, that, you know, these two films are considered, you know, peak Black cinema. And we kind of did discuss, you know, who is doing the reverence, you know, is it Hollywood, is it critics, is it the actual culture? But these two seem to pierce through all different groups and stand on top. So we wanted to do something a little different and do a little verses with these two films. So yeah. So just for context, Boyz n the Hood was released in 1991. A 23-year-old John Singleton with his feature film debut. And we have Menace to Society, like mentioned. The Hughes brothers with their feature film debut. They both, or all three, went on to have very successful careers. But John Singleton's Boyz n the Hood kind of started or set this wave off, I guess you could say. There had been films that dealt with Black life and Black neighborhoods prior to, but I don't know if there was anything as visceral, as unabashedly like authentic as Boyz n the Hood, one could probably say. So yeah. Any initial thoughts regarding the two films?
As a any initial thoughts, like as in how of the films themselves,
Yeah.
or just no? I mean, you know, just films of the times of the 90s that in one way or another did represent parts of, you know, Black life and culture and things of that nature. I think they were both great films, you know what I mean? I kind of want to lean into, you know, my direction. I chose one versus the other. I'm more of
We'll
a
get into that.
okay.
We'll get into
I'll
that.
hold off then. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
just want the overall, just
Overall, man, great films. I think it was great acting on both sides. Tiring little, but you know, it was definitely well done.
You know, I think there was two great films that created some iconic characters that we get to talk about to this day to represent certain things, and we see them in other characters now.
Mhm.
So I think they laid the foundation for a lot of things.
I will say that rewatching these two films recently, I couldn't help but be struck by the parody, the moments that are parodied in Don't Be a
Don't be a
Menace to
menace.
South Central. Oh my man, I'm like, okay, all right, let me shake that off, watch the movie because it kept creeping in. I kept picturing Marlon and
Man.
Sean in certain moments, and I'm
Man.
just like, them niggas is foolish.
Niggas are crazy.
All right, so first up, what I kind of want to do is just take these four key elements, have a discussion about each film, and then at the end of that discussion, call out who do you feel, which film you felt uh was the more superior film in that area, I guess. Or and we're accepting ties if you can't decide
I
which
got
one,
you.
because these films are so close and um yeah, so we're good with ties. Script and story, so we want to talk about pacing, plot, character development, your favorite dialogue. Don't waste
Don't
your
waste.
motherfucking dialogue with Lloyd, because he will call you out. Okay, we don't need that. If you need to say it, you better mean it. And was the story engaging? So I kind of, so my notes here are Boys in the Hood was kind of a fork in the road story. So that's the mindset it put me in. Trey, we're entering this world through Trey's eyes, and ultimately he has a decision to make. He can follow his friends, follow the streets, or he can listen to his father and go down that path. So that was kind of the basis, I thought, for Boys in the Hood, that fork in the road story. And then on the other hand, Menace to Society, you have the story kind of structured in repetition, I think, because Kane is given moments of clarity, and he knows what the right choice is. We hear it in the voiceover. He's learned the lessons, but
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't have, I don't know, the motivation, or what, I don't know what it is, but he doesn't act on it, so it ultimately becomes too late for him. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on the overall story, and I'm gonna open it up for y'all to give y'all 2 cents to dive in deeper.
For me, the story and Menace, Kane, I felt like he couldn't get from under the influence of his friends. To me, that's what the whole story was. Like he had his grandfather, but that was a much more removed generation. So it was a huge age gap. I don't even think his grandmother said too much, but but
Hey baby, come on downstairs.
right.
That was
And
me.
the realism in that was just, it's like I felt there was no relation there. It was like it was just too far of an age gap. His parents weren't there, so all he had was his friends, and I felt like that's all he felt like he had was his friends. So he didn't want to disappoint them. So I feel like they had that strength over, making his decisions, and he just kept leaning towards that. For the story, Boys in the Hood, kind of to what you said, it's like Trey does have the ability to do what he wants, and it's like he still rocks with his friends, but he also knows he still has that solid foundation with his dad. It's not that far removed, and when he went to go live with them, from a young boy up, he got all of those lessons instilled. So it was something that was always cemented in him, and I think that's what played in his favor, in that story.
We see him make the decision. He could have did like Kane and followed the influence of his friend, and it could have completely altered his life, but he made the decision. He knew what was right for him, what was better, and he made that decision and walked on home.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was the difference between the two films. Like Triz was alluding to, Kane had his grandparents, and where Trey actually had both parents, and especially his father from that, that teenage or that early preteen age into teen and adulthood age, where his dad could really influence and guide him. Kane was missing all of that because even though he had his grandfather there, his approach was always biblical. The guy, and when you coming up in some of those environments and you got all these different influences, especially negative ones, and all you can see is what's down here in front of you. You ain't really trying to hear about what God is doing and what he got going on for you. Versus Trey, his dad was talking to him like, as a man, this is what life is.
Yeah.
You can grab, that's more tangible than God doesn't like and what God, and no knock on any of that or any religion or anything. But I think that was one of the key differences between those two. Trey had the guidance and the steering hand of his father and parents, but Kane didn't. He was completely influenced by the streets until a point in his life when we talk about that arc and later on where he's dealing with someone else and he kind of like, okay, maybe I need to do things a little bit differently. So it is about the people around you, but I think from the onset, Kane just didn't have anything or anyone, and Trey did. You know what I mean? So
I think when you, at least for me, when rewatching these so close together, they almost seem like they're in conversation with each other,
Right.
because we see the importance of having a black father in the house. And I mean, you can say really just black parents, because Kane's mom wasn't much of a mother either.
No.
And Kane watches or witnesses his dad take someone's life. So that sets him up right there, this is normal.
it's normal.
This is
what
normal
life
Yeah,
activity.
is.
if his dad was there, he still would have been on the wrong path.
Yeah. If not, probably more, because his dad probably would have been pushing him like, man.
See, that's the thing. We could say that, but he could also
He could've
shielded him
changed,
from
yeah.
that.
He
You know what
could've.
I'm saying? So,
But yeah, to have Furious in Trey's life, and like you mentioned, he wasn't, and not to say that what Kane's grandfather wasn't giving him wasn't truth,
right.
but Furious, it was tangible. It was, you could see what he was talking about.
right.
Like when he talked about gentrification, when the guy broke into their house and he had to protect his house, and then still had to come face to face with the police officer who looks like me but still thinks he's
Treats
better
me
than
like
me.
the enemy.
Yeah, so I think that's one of the major differences in the in how these two filmmakers approach very similar material. There's like hope with Boys in the Hood, and with Menace it's just
pure reality,
pure despair, pure,
you know what I'm saying?
Loss.
And like you said, with them being in conversation, because the one coming out before the other, you take what they left on the table, because there's the other side of that coin. You know what I'm saying? This is how you lead and run your household, and these are the rules that you need to adhere to. Your parents, this is what life would do. This is how to handle you if you do this. This is what's against you out here already. And then boom, long as you follow the path of God, everything will work. And it's, that's just black households and, the many different facets of it. So I think they did a great job of kind of breaking some of that stuff down.
I like that point of they took what was left on the table and showed the other side of that coin.
Right.
Not everybody has a Furious style.
Exactly.
I mean, and we do see that with Doughboy and Ricky as well. Like, and Furious, as much as he was trying to educate and be the example for the neighborhood or for their group of friends, it still isn't the same as having that in the household, coming from that lineage.
Right.
So yeah. And I think that's probably why Menace also stands next to Boys in the Hood, compared to some of the other hood films that came after it. I think that's one of the reasons why it stands next to it, because it literally is that flip,
Yep.
the other side of the coin, yeah, man. I was thinking about the voiceover, because anytime there's voiceover in a movie, I'm like, why? What is the point of them narrating what I can see? Or, they're, I don't know. It's just, it's a tool that I'm always very much aware of. When a movie starts, I'm like, oh, I'm getting narrated to. Why? And I think it adds to the tragedy of Kane's story, because we hear this well-spoken, seemingly has his head on his shoulders, knows his rights from wrongs, but then what we see on the screen contradicts everything he's saying, and it's just like, oh.
Because I look at the narration of, this is him, the outer body, this is after, right, and that's the appreciation he's coming to you from.
Yeah, but it's too late.
But it's too late.
It's too late, man.
And that goes back to the other side of, the coin, where Trey had a decision to make, and after Kane made his decision, this was the outcome. So they both had different, they had their outcomes from the decision that they made, and one cared soon enough, and the other one, like he said, it was too late.
It was too late.
Yeah, because I mean, as you were saying, like, Boys in the Hood being a fork in the road type setup, I was thinking, Menace ain't far off of that same thing. You know what I mean? Because he came to that point where he had to make that decision. One's just panned out better in a sense, because I mean, he still suffered some tragedy behind that, but the other one, he suffered the ultimate, tragedy. So,
but I think with Kane, could you say he had multiple forks in the road? I think that's where that repetition comes in, because he had what's Dutton,
oh yeah, that was
I forget the character's name.
I just know
but
Sharif's
Charles
dad.
S.
I can't think of
Dutton's
his
character.
Sharif's dad, the Muslim's dad.
oh
Yeah.
I can't think of the character name.
He comes to him. You have the grandfather coming to him. You have Jada coming to him. Like, so he had all these chances to.
And see, to go back to the other side, and going back to what what's been being said, with Furious being there every day, when you get these messages in passing, it's like trying to find clues to put together a puzzle. And by the time you get everything together, so much time has passed, and what's done is done.
But at the same time, it's not really coming from somebody that you hold in such high regard. All these people in passing, it's like, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I hear you. Versus it coming from your father. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's Pops. That's my dad. That's the man that brought me into this world. He's helped mold my life. Whatever the case may be, obviously, we know he got sent to live with his dad, Trey, that is, at a later age. But I'm pretty sure he was still present. Like, I think we can assume that he was present up until that point.
He made a comment about when he was setting the rules. He was like, it's just like the weekends or the summers or something like that.
Exactly. So, it's different when you hear, like, you can hear the message 10, 15 times over until it comes from the person you actually respect. I mean, we all, in the working world where we're at, you can offer an advice, a suggestion, but if the person you offering it to don't respect what you have to say,
that's fair.
It ain't gonna go nowhere. The person to your left can say the exact same thing, and they can say, you're right. You know what I mean? So it's one of those moments where it's like, yeah, you gave me a gem every single time I talk to you, but it's like, bro, I ain't trying to hear you. You just, whatever.
Yeah.
But coming from somebody that's got that grasp on you, then yeah, that means a lot more.
Yeah.
So I think that was, again, the difference between Kane and Trey.
And with Boys in the Hood, it seems like what John Singleton is trying to say is that the environment does not define the person, the man. We have these three different examples in Trey, in Ricky, and in Doughboy. Three different outcomes, three different paths, I should say. And with Menace, it almost seems like you are defined by your environment. You know, I mean, they're
If
at
you're
least with
looking
the
at
with the
if you're looking
main
at old
character.
dog, if
Yeah,
you're looking at old dog, you're defined.
and Kane, he
But
didn't make it out.
well, I mean, technically, the only one that made it out in Boys was Trey.
Trey, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you could say the other two
But,
were defined.
Well, and I guess what I mean by that is that with Boys in the Hood, you have Trey who makes it out. You have Ricky who should have made it out and
Right.
was not. If you met him in passing, you wouldn't think that this was his life. See, that's the impression I got. You know, he didn't seem to fit in. They made fun of him. You know, so it wasn't like this environment was creating nothing but thugs and gangbangers. You know, there was individuality there. Whereas Menace, it seems like if you were in this neighborhood, if you were in this world, you were a certain type of dude.
Yeah,
You
it
were
seemed like the
some-
only people that were different were the older folks in the environment.
yeah.
Well, I mean, even Sharif. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah. He
So
was
you had-
the one. Yeah,
You're gonna always have the outlier.
But
in
to
a
your
sense.
point, he had his dad. That
You're gonna-
was
he had his
yeah.
To your
dad.
point,
So you're
yeah.
gonna so that's the thing. We got shown that in close proximity in Boys in the Hood where we didn't get to see it as much.
Yes.
In Menace.
I guess
but it
yeah,
was
I should
there.
say the focus.
You know what I'm saying?
The focus.
It was
yeah.
there.
Yeah. No. Anything else for story and script?
Story and script. I mean, I think Menace handled business a little bit better when it comes to like story and script, and the fact that they just we got on the story, we tracked our characters, and they got us to where we needed to go. I think there was a couple pieces of Boys in the Hood that was more just for the cinematic appeal, and it was for the I guess some comedy flair, if you will, in the movie. That if you lose a few scenes, I don't think you lose anything to the movie or to the story. Where in Menace, I don't think you could really lose anything without changing.
So you
the
feel like
story.
Menace was a tighter.
Yeah, Menace was
story.
set out to tell a story of this. Boys in the Hood was to take that story and make a movie of it. And yeah, that's my thought on that.
Yeah, I feel like with Boys in the Hood, you're watching it, but then some parts it's like, okay, now we set aside to give you a lesson. Even though Kane's grandfather was doing it in Menace, it didn't feel like it was set aside just to do that for a scene. And then you get back to the movie.
What you feel was set aside?
Even though as real as it is, the gentrification, like when it came up, it was like, all right, everybody gather around. That's how it felt. Instead of him just having this private conversation with his grandson and his friend is here, it felt more real than everybody that was outside coming around to get taught this lesson.
Almost like and don't be a menace. Lesson. I
Message.
message.
You
What
gonna
did I
have
say?
people on your ass in the
Again.
comments again.
Oh shit! Stay on my ass. I deserve it. Message. Yeah. But yeah, no. I get that. I get that. I think I'm the only one drinking. Yep. Okay. All right. Cool. All right.
I'm gonna join you. Don't worry about it.
We having one of those. We having one of those episodes. That's cool. Yeah, I agree. I can see that. I can see that. It does feel like at certain points John Singleton feels like he has to educate
I've got to give you something.
the audience.
A message in the madness. I've got to
Yeah.
give you.
Yeah,
Because I'm not
this is
just
why.
making a graphic hood movie. This is to educate about for those who have not seen. It's like he's telling a story of where he's from. You know what I'm
Right.
saying, and what he endured coming up, and what he saw, and people he knew. So, and Triz can probably attest to it. When we were right, I would never want to just write the dark side of things, the bad side of things, because there are people who've never interacted with us in those levels, in those communities. And when you present something to them and it just looks horrible, violent, vicious by nature, when they judge you based on that, how can you be mad if that's all you've ever shown them when they have no other way of interacting with that world?
Mm-hmm.
So I think he takes that moment in there with Furious Styles, based on Furious Styles, to say, yo, no, we're educated, we're well mannered, we're respectful, we have bright paths and futures. And there's just a lot of shit lobbed against us.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he does a good job in most of his projects, to make sure that we're not just, no matter how horrific the story is at its core, that we're not just looked at under this one, you know what I'm saying, microcosm of reality or something. So
yeah. And like, do you think there's being one of the first to tell a story like this, or to tell such a personal story of your life experience, do you feel like there's a pressure to I don't want to say like spoon feed, but to what's the word I'm looking for, but do you feel like there was a pressure to have those moments to humanize the character and say, this is the lesson in all of this violence, or
I don't think there was a pressure so much as, and that's dependent on where the pressure is coming from, because my fear for them when they're writing something like that, this is their debut. These are young black men in an industry that has often been unwelcoming to our stories, especially fully driven, where it doesn't completely demonize us in character. So I think the pressure might have been making sure it's still palatable for the studio, but it's authentic enough for the community it represents.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I think that might have been the only pressure. But I relate, like when you're talking debut films, I relate it to music. Like when you talk about a debut album, a debut film, you had your entire existence from then up until now to create this body of work.
Yep.
So the pressure's not there on that because you've lived it, you've experienced it for the past 18, 20, 25 years, and you're just showing the world or telling the world, what that was, what your walk of life was. So I don't think he had any pressure, and it was just, in my opinion, making sure that when them studios see it, they don't feel like, all right, he trying to, resurrect the Black Panthers, or he trying to, lead a revolutionary charge or something, and they shut everything down. So that might have been the pressure, making sure that the nuance of it is acceptable and they'll sign off and release it and distribute it, but it's also still real. It's not, watered down.
Yeah. And that, and that would make sense, being that it was, the first of its kind, or one of the first of its kind. And then you have Menace that comes, 2 years later. That's just like, all right, yeah, they did that, and now we just gonna give you this,
Yep.
Okay, I fucks with that. Who comes out on top for story for you guys?
Story for me, I'm definitely going Menace.
Same, Menace.
Be different.
That's expected.
Right. Not surprised.
That's expected.
No, but let me explain. So, like I said, these films are in conversation with each other, I feel like. So there's a lot of similarities, but I think the reason why I am gonna give my vote to Boyz n the Hood is for the character of Furious Styles.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a very powerful tool. I think he was a very powerful tool in the movie. And trying to not be biased about Lawrence Fishburne's performance, but it's hard when it's right there, So I that's why. But
Can I say why I didn't pick that one?
yeah.
Because the hope died, and at that time, that's in those areas, that's all a lot of people have is. So Ricky was the hope to get out, and he didn't. And even though Trey made a decision, he still lived. Him still being in that area, that could have been his fate at any time. So like the hope died, and that killed
But he left and went to Howard?
I was gonna say, like, anybody could have left for, you know, a variety of reasons. I mean, granted, I get it, you know, early 90s,
Right.
impoverished community. You're gonna ride the wave of the kid who may. It's not like he was in college headed to the NFL.
Yeah.
He's in high school.
There's a
going to college.
chance.
Yeah.
You know, there wasn't no NIL yet. They was probably still paying athletes and shit back then. So I mean, I get that, but I wouldn't say the hope necessarily died. I mean, you know, if anything, you know, Boys in the Hood, it kind of says everybody here, these are just boys in the hood, man. That's it. Trey turned his back to that. You know what I'm saying? To me, that was the birth of hope, if you will. He said, no, I don't have to go down that road. I don't have to go down that path. And obviously he made it out, whereas everybody else around him didn't. You know, so to me, that was the acceptance of hope. Like, nope, I heard Pops all this time. I'm going to do what I need to do. I'm going to get up out of here. You know, I don't got to play, you know, football or, you know, make music or nothing. I'm going to get up out of here by making the right choice, which was at that moment, simply get out the car. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's where hope was realized. Like, shit, there is hope for me. Because I believe it was mentioned, he's like, dude, we can go get them. They can come back, get us. We can go get them. And that's what that life is.
Yep.
So when he accepted, like, nah, because the rest of them accepted their fate. Like, this is just who we are. This is just what we do. And you hear the same thing in Menace when they accept that. So I think him saying, let me out, though. That's the acceptance of hope. Like, no, I can do something else.
Yeah.
I don't
will
have to
say
be here.
the fact that Doughboy didn't fault him and wasn't mad at him was powerful, though, because more times than not, that's not going to end well for whoever got out the car.
Yeah. And I felt like he understood and saw. So the hope for me is in Trey. It's not in Ricky.
Exactly.
And I think Doughboy realized that and knew, like, you know, this is my fate. This is not your fate.
He not one of us.
He not one of us.
He just
you got your
around
dad.
us. You know what I'm saying? Like,
your dad be spitting game. Like, we don't have that, you know. So
this is
I felt
all
like
we have.
Trey was the hope. He got out. He went to, was it Howard? Him and he went to one of them schools, but I think Ricky was part of the sacrifice, part of the casualty along the way of getting out. You see somebody that has potential to live up to that hope, but doesn't quite make it. That's how I viewed it.
Trey and Brandy went to college in Atlanta.
Okay.
So it wasn't Howard.
So it wasn't Howard.
But yeah, that was my thought on that. That Doe realized, man, nah, this ain't, like, if you with us, you with us. But then on the flip side, in Menace, when they in the car with Wax and they going to handle that, and they like, man, well, I ain't killing no kids and no over. What? Y'all both sound like some bitches right now. Whoever outside getting smoked.
Yeah.
And so no hope.
No hope.
No
hope.
hope and no heart.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
Care.
Nobody
No
got
hope
out
and
the
no
car.
heart.
They went and did what they set out to do. There was no hope. Even for Kane in that moment. Wasn't no hope. That nigga did what they set out to go do.
Well, wasn't there a part in Menace where he talked about not living or didn't believe he would live to see whatever age they said? So yeah. He didn't even
His
see
grandfather
it in
asked him if he cared if he lived or died.
Say he didn't
Oh,
know.
and he didn't know. Yeah.
No hope.
None.
Until they both had those moments. They both had, Doe had the moment. I mean, Trey had the moment in the car. And Kane had his moment. One of them was just too late.
They were going to Atlanta too, weren't they? I think.
That would be crazy.
Yeah,
I think they were. I think they were going to Atlanta.
That would have been tight if they'd both made it to
What?
Atlanta.
Black Mecca.
It made it.
So where would you say are you talking about when he's with Jada's character?
Yep.
And they're talking about like leaving and packing up and all that. Yeah.
And that's when he decided, and there's his realization of hope. I can do something else.
Because he fought with it for so long.
And, yep. And dog, that's funny. That would have been Boys in Society.
This
Had they made it to
Literally.
Atlanta, had been Boyz II Society.
Ronnie. I keep
Yeah,
Ronnie,
forgetting
yeah.
Ronnie.
Fine
Yeah.
ass Ronnie.
All right. All right. So right now, Menace is in the lead. Performances. So here, just assessing the acting. Did the cast have chemistry? Do you feel did the actors feel authentic in their respective roles?
100% both films.
Agreed.
100% both films. And I appreciate both of them for exactly what they were and for how I said I feel the movies came across, whereas both of them took stories, and the Hughes brothers were on a mission to just share this story, whereas Singleton was on a mission to make a movie of the story. And to me, that's how they felt watching them. Even, with their performances, everybody did a phenomenal job. I mean, you're talking about Lawrence Fishburne, Bassett, Cuba, like everybody did a phenomenal job acting, and I believed everybody for who they were.
Yeah.
What did annoy me a little bit, but then as I watched it and kind of understood the nuance in it, Trey didn't really fit the whole, crew in the pack. But every time he talked, he tried to just be so suave and just, like super cool. And he was the, the girl getter and all this. I'm like, okay, this shit makes sense. He really is he ain't no hood nigga, but he's the nigga in the hood. And then on the flip side, I mean, old dog, he was just a reckless YN.
Iconic. Iconic.
At the time. Iconic old dog. Just completely unchecked, right? So I said Kane was unguided. Old dog was unchecked.
I agree
You
with
was
that.
just a wild.
Yep.
If an OG would have just checked you one time, you know what I'm saying? You wouldn't have been running as wild like that.
If O-Dog was running around right now, he would definitely be wearing a Nike Tech with a skin.
With the shiesty. Straight up.
Shit,
No,
old dog
I mean,
was
they
running
handled
around.
their
His name was
business.
King Von.
They handled their business. I mean, all across the board.
But you mentioned, or you started to mention something about Tyron.
So what I appreciated, because his acting wasn't on pace, I should say, with everybody else. Even the grandfather, I think, was just as demonstrative and just,
Powerful, yeah.
powerful. Tyron wasn't the greatest actor in the world, but I think it fit that story, because that was, once again, I don't think I mean, obviously they were making a film, but we got a raw look into that life, and Tyron fit that. He didn't feel like an actor, right? He was just a guy in this role. He wasn't overly street. He damn sure wasn't square.
Right.
He just fit.
He was in the middle.
He's fighting, you know what I'm saying, amongst himself, who he is and what to do in life and where to go. You hearing all of this stuff around you, your grandfather, you seeing all these things in front of you. You know what I mean? You got other people talking to you. So he just had that constant fight with himself. But yeah, as far as performance, I think it felt super authentic.
Yeah.
There
was only one moment where he was crying or got emotional, where it just kind of.
The only one I didn't care for was when he was robbing Buddy in the drive-through.
Oh,
It just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
You a baller, huh?
Triz, what about you? Performances. What's your take on these two films and their performances?
I mean, for me, they did a great job casting everybody, even to the Charles Dutton, his character. Everybody just did a phenomenal job. As far as like going to Old Dog, even the people in the community thought he was from out there. How well he did. Lorenz, he handled business with that. The supporting cast, like Lloyd brought up, you got AWACS, MC8.
Yep.
There was
Clifton Powell, Chauncey.
Yeah, even Kane's cousin, I believe he was with Digital Underground.
You got an early
Harold.
performance from Sam Jackson.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what was
Sam.
his name? Tap.
Yep.
Yeah, like I mean, there's a lot
Andy Alexander.
of notable faces, and I don't think
Short.
Too Short was in there.
Too
Yeah.
Short.
Not It's funny. It's hard to put in words. Everybody, it was so believable that they weren't acting. Like
Yeah.
it's real characters. Like Lloyd said, we got to see this. It just happened to be cameras around catching this. It didn't feel like you were watching a movie. It felt like a documentary damn near for both of them.
No, Menace. I mean, Boys in the Hood felt like a movie. Boys in the Hood felt like a movie.
That's when I say you
Pretty
take those
Boy
scenes
Ricky.
that you pull to the side, and it's like, okay, now we gotta teach. But it's like, as far as like when it's just Doughboy and them sitting on the porch, even when the scout comes,
Yeah.
like all of that felt like it wasn't a movie. It just felt super authentic.
I'm not
Scouts
saying it
there.
didn't feel authentic, but it rang like a movie to me. I mean, one, probably because of who we're looking at, right? You're looking at Cube. You're looking at just more bona fide.
I was about to say,
I
Boys
can
in the
understand
Hood
that
had
part.
more like stars, I
Yeah.
guess you could call them.
You know what I'm
I mean,
saying?
Menace has very recognizable actors. You see them, you know them, you know their names. But Boys, you got the Lawrence Fishburnes, you got the Angela Bassett's, you got the Ice Cubes, you got the Cuba Gooding
Boys
Jr.'s.
just felt cleaner all around.
Yeah.
It
Whereas
was. It
Menace
was. It
completely
was gritty.
gritty.
It was gritty.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I already mentioned Lawrence. That's one of my favorite performances put
mhm.
on film. I thought Ice Cube, I think this was his film debut. I think it was Morris Chestnut's film debut. All great actors. They obviously went on to do,
Right.
big things
lot of great
in
things.
Hollywood. And Menace, you got the same thing. I love all the actors. Like I said, there was only that one moment with Kane. I think he was crying with Ron. I don't know who he was talking to, but it was like an emotional
Ronnie
point.
probably would have been the only person he would have cried
Yeah,
around because he
where
wasn't
I
crying
think he
around
was with
nobody else.
Ronnie, and they kind
I
of
mean, they cried
zoomed
when he got
in,
shot.
and they zoomed in, and I was just like, oh, okay, all right,
All right.
this,
Yeah.
that was the only time where I was just kind of pulled out. But I mean, you got Bill Duke.
Bill Duke.
Bill Duke.
You know you fucked up, right?
You know you fucked up.
That scene is iconic.
That scene.
That scene is goated.
Iconic. See, yeah. Okay, just a quick off the cuff. Which one has more iconic scenes?
Menace.
That was quick. I mean, because you could think Ricky, he running down the,
Mm-hmm.
joint.
Yeah.
Give my brother his ball back.
Yep. Want to see a dead body?
Want to
Wanna
see a dead body.
Yeah.
The gentrification scene.
But a lot of people don't talk about that though. They talk about the other ones.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is why we had
I guess the
last
cop
week's
scene as
episode.
well.
The cop scene for sure.
Don't
Trey
know.
explaining
show.
the
Don't care
the
about what's
sex-
going
the
on in the
sex
hood.
scene.
Yeah.
I mean, with the girl in the mama house.
I couldn't tell. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I think Triz is right with Menace.
Because going back to the car scene with AWACS, even when AWACS was like, "Hey, yo, you need some help?" Let him have it. When he's
Even the scene where he robbing him, like
right, that
you
scene
know.
where he got shot and he's staggering, and then
Y'all
talking
want a
about them.
cheeseburger?
Even
There's a bunch of
Clifton
them
Powell, he was
involved.
talking to the white guy. He said,
Oh,
"I don't give a
yeah.
fuck what I said. Don't come around here."
Now I will say the opening to Menace.
To Menace,
There's nothing in Boys in the Hood that lives up to
Feel
that.
sorry for your mother.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Boy, why
if
you had to
if
say
he
that?
didn't say that, they were leaving.
They were leaving.
They were leaving.
Pack
So I
both
feel
their
like
asses up.
I feel like I can confidently say Menace has the most iconic scene.
The most iconic scene for sure. That
But
I
I
mean,
don't know
that's
who
the
has
whole
the
thing
more.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would go back.
But the
and forth.
quotable probably belongs to Boys in the Hood. But the
I
most iconic to set
yeah.
it all off is definitely
Yeah.
Menace.
And it's harder for me because I've seen Boys in the Hood more than I've seen Menace.
I've definitely seen Menace more than I've seen Boys
Same.
in the Hood.
Same.
Yeah. All right, performances, gentlemen.
we're doing an individual
Who
performer
you,
or
Or like
overall?
film overall.
Overall, who are you voting?
I'm going with Old Dog. It's like we talking about person or
No, I'm
movies?
talking about film.
Film. Oh,
The whole cast. Who are you giving your vote for?
that I'll go with Boys. I'm going Boys.
I'm going Boys.
I think you kind of gotta go Boys in the Hood, but man, I want to pick Menace because
Okay, but now, so let's do this. So we agree as an overall cast, we're going with Boys in the Hood.
I just think they have
Now-
better grade of actors.
Across both films, your favorite performance? I think you
That's
were
Old
already
Dog.
said
Yeah, that's Old Dog.
Mine is a tie.
Who's the
Old
top?
Dog and Fishburne. Old Dog and Furious.
I'm with you on that one. I'm with Lloyd because I'm like, I think Lorenz Tate, and we may have, I don't know if we talked about this on camera or it was probably off camera. He's one of those guys that does not get
the respect.
the respect that I think he did. Like, I think if
100%.
you really sit down and watch
look at
his body of work, you would be
Yeah.
like, he should be one of the guys right now.
he should be one of them guys.
He should be one of the guys that Hollywood is just calling. We building this movie around you.
100%.
Who else? Who you want to be a leading lady?
Right.
You want us to call Nia?
The man
who-
has played every role imaginable
And he is 110%.
every single time.
It's 110% because when you look at Old Dog versus like a Frankie Lyman,
Thank you. That
Right.
was my immediate go-to. You got Frankie Lyman on one hand, and you got Old Dog on the other.
I'm just saying that
Man,
that right there, that's
his trophy
range.
room needs to be
That's
crazy.
range.
Crazy
That is
range.
That's range.
crazy range.
And then now you get it. He's in this, at least in my opinion, he's in this era of his career where it's very natural, it's very relaxed. A lot of the characters he's playing, and it's just very subtle work. So I get the Old Dogs and the Frankie Lymans are big characters. You know, they have big moments. But he's doing some very subtle work too, and I'm like, so he can give you the big moments, but he can also bring you back down to reality
100%.
and have these grounded performances that feel like
100%.
a real life person that you encounter on the street and on your day to day, you know. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
He definitely should be one of them guys for certain.
yeah.
Menace was his debut film, definitely.
Okay, I didn't know if he did something right before. Wait, when did is Inkwell like 94?
I think it was like
Inkwell
94. I
It's
wanna
94, yep.
Oh, okay. So, all right. And then not even we didn't even mention his run
Right.
Right.
in the 90s.
Because then you got Dead Presidents. You just brought up the Inkwell.
So it goes, I'll just run it. It goes Menace to Society, The Inkwell, Dead Presidents, Love Jones. 4 for 4 out the gate. 4 for 4 out the gate.
And then to even go back to what Marcus brought up, just the range through all of those movies.
Right, because then he goes into Why Do Fools Fall in Love, the Frankie Lyman story.
Yep.
Love Come Down. I don't know if y'all seen that one.
That's the Deborah Cox.
Deborah
joint?
Cox one, yep. Biker Boys, A Man Apart, Crash,
Mm-hmm.
Ray as Quincy Jones,
Mm-hmm.
Waist Deep.
Yeah, he was good in there.
Then he's got
Lucky.
Sax West. Then there's a couple more. Then he does Girls Trip, Deuces, Business Ethics, and he's got one coming out this year where he plays Barry Gordy.
That's not the Mike.
Yes, it is.
Wait, he's in the Michael
He's Barry
movie?
Gordy in the
I did
Michael
not
movie.
know
I didn't know
that.
that.
So
Oh,
the
yeah.
man has run, range,
And you didn't
just
even talk about
otherworldly
the
talent.
TV stuff. 'cause
Right.
ain't-
I didn't
ain't
either.
He in
He
one
was
of the
in- he was in
powers?
Power,
Already
yeah.
Power?
So even if you jump it today, he did some
He
Twilight
just
Zone.
doesn't miss.
Mm-mm.
He doesn't, man. I mean, he's like that.
Yeah, he's one. Of
So
them
those
ones, so.
and the reason I picked those two is because they were both the magnetic attraction to pull.
Each character,
Each
the main
character,
character in the other
yeah.
film.
So Kane or Lorenz was pulling Old Dog back to the streets, to trouble, and Furious was pulling Trey away from that.
Mhm.
and they did
You
it
know, that was
good
Yeah,
ass
I
job
like that.
doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that tie at all.
100%.
Okay. All right. Technical elements. So we're talking about cinematography, editing, sound, music, all those other little additions to the story, to the performance, some of the subtle stuff that you may not recognize upon initial watch that just add to the viewing experience of both films. Um, I want to start off because this has been a TikTok trend, but the saxophones
Oh
Oh
my
in
my
Boys in the
god!
Hood. When I
I know
saw
y'all
the
seen the
trend,
video
I
of the
thought
guy
they were
hanging out the window with the
exaggerating.
sax.
And then I rewatched the film. I was like, "Oh no, we got it.
They're like, you hear that saxophone? It's over
It's
for
It's
you.
over.
over. Something wicked this way comes."
It's over.
But just real quick, Boys in the Hood, we had like low grounded camera work, long takes during conversations. You
Mhm.
know, it's really about the listening over the spectacle. We mentioned the saxophone before something bad or potentially bad could happen, and then death being more sudden and not so anticlimactic, with the exception of Ricky. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Ricky is the only one where we're like,
Yeah,
everybody else, Dope Boy just walks across the
and
street,
just
fades,
fades.
but death just being part of the environment. It's just there. Violence is just there. Then on the flip side, you got Menace to Society, which I took said kind of felt like they were trying to make the viewer feel locked in, caged in, like maybe Kane felt. I don't know. But there's a lot of tight frame. There's not a lot of depth of field. You see, you're right here and you're right up front. Um, and once again, violence is part of the atmosphere. Um, so that's what I had.
No, I mean those are great points because with Kane, with it being close, it's like, all right, what you gonna do? Like he's sitting on the couch, his grandfather's talking, like Lloyd said, he's preaching. It's like, okay, what you gonna do? Going back to the store, he's drinking his beer. Old dog get the blast, and it's like, what you gonna do? But it's a tight frame,
Mm-hmm.
and
Because that's where the story is, in my opinion. The story is right here.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you need is right here, right? It's
Mhm.
not a movie.
Mhm.
It's a story.
Or you could even look at it as hope and no hope. Where Boys in the Hood, we open up outside the neighborhood, we have wider shots. There's room to grow. Whereas Menace, you ain't going nowhere.
You ain't going
in
nowhere.
this nigga,
This
you in
where
this
you at.
box. This is where you at.
I like that.
yeah,
I like that.
I like that.
They were both shot well. I do feel Boys in the Hood takes that because it's just more cinematic. It's more of a movie feel
Yeah.
versus a camera on some,
Right, and they shooting scenes,
on
it
a
was
story.
just blasting. It
You know
wasn't
what I mean?
like, I guess even don't pay attention to the scoring. It's just straight chaos. All of these shots going off. You got people screaming, running, but then like you said, Ricky, you got the saxophone, and it's this whole.
Yeah, because even
Slow
when they
motion.
But it slows
yeah.
down when Kane is outside. But at the end of the day, it's still just fucking turmoil.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm leaning towards, I think the one that, in my opinion, set out to make a movie ahead of telling a story, even though telling the story was how they made it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that focus was on making sure it was still cinematically well rounded. So I'm going Boys in the Hood.
I would agree.
Yeah, I'm not gonna argue that.
All right. That's 2-1 right now. Boys in the Hood in the lead.
Boys in the Hood is in the lead.
Now, the last element I wanted to talk about, I think sometimes when people look at movies, it kind of gets lost because, people are looking at, the story, or people are looking at the performance. But I wanted to talk about effectiveness. What effect did the movie have on you? Because ultimately, that's what you take with you in when you're done watching the movie. That's what lives with you years later, or you go revisit it in a different stage of your life and it has a different effect. That's what changes your relationship to a certain film. So I wanted to talk about that. Do you feel like the filmmaker, we're talking John Singleton and the Hughes brothers, they achieved their intended goal? Do you feel like you received whatever message or story that they tried to share with you? You know, that kind of thing.
So without like checking into some interviews or something, I can't say what their intended goal was per se. But if it was to stand the test of time and make a movie that, you know, hits on all metrics, both of them wildly exceeded expectations, I'm sure. But
Well, I guess I should say, obviously, we don't know what their actual intended goal or their intention was, but I guess based on your perceived,
right.
you know, idea of what their intentions was, you know, experiencing that movie, do you feel like they achieved their goals?
I would say yes for both, for you know, both parties involved. I would say yes, just flat out.
Okay.
Yeah, they did.
I agree.
I mean, you know, like when you set out as a filmmaker and a storyteller or a visionary, you're just trying to share something that, you know, starts up here, and hopefully people can relate to it, people understand it, and can appreciate it. And I think across all three of those factors, I think they succeeded. I think it's fair to say they succeeded. I mean, like we said, those two are both hoisted to the top of our cinematic cultural conversations and stuff like that, what we deem classics, what we watch year on in, over and over again. You're talking about movies that came out in the early 90s. These movies
as soon as the 90s started,
these are,
like,
you know, beyond 40 years old, and we're still talking about them. You know what I mean? And we still appreciate them to this day for what they, you know, set out to do. Now, as far as the message, I mean, that's to each his own what you interpret from it. I think if I would put myself in their shoes, and I'm speaking as far as when I put a story out there or a message or a character or a theme or whatever, you kind of want conversation anyway. You don't want everybody to just get in one, you know, line and say, yep, it hit everything on the nose and this is all it was. You know, we can all grow up in the same household, but we're not going to see life the same way. Long as you have in a sense, a positive reaction to the work that's put out, I think that's what they hang their hat on. And, you know, they take the negative with it. But all in all, I think they both know or both parties, I keep saying both, and it's two brothers in Singleton, but both parties wanted to put out a picture that would stand the test of time, that would inspire, aside from creatives, but, you know, just the youth to, you know, make the right choice. Ultimately, that's what both movies were about, you know, making the right choices in life. And I believe that's what they set out to do, and I'm pretty sure they succeeded in that.
Yeah, that was my thought. It was my perceived intention was, you know, do the right thing, make the right choice. We just got two different views of how that could play out, and I think they were both very effective. You know, you see, I think with Menace, you see if you don't make the right choice or you don't act on it in a timely fashion, it's a wrap. And it won't be pretty, you know. So it almost like scares you to be like, oh shit, let me get my shit together.
Tighten up.
Whereas with Boyz n the Hood, it's a softer approach, I feel. You know, with 100%. You know, no matter what your situation is, there's always another way. There's always another way, you know. So yeah.
And then I mean, you get a 2-for-1 in that story too, because it wasn't the action or inaction of Ricky. Ultimately, it was, right. You're running for your life. You don't stop to piss or scratch a
zigzag. You play football,
Right.
Zigzag. What?
But a lot of that was due to the action and inaction of his brother.
No, it was
You know what I
Ricky
mean?
because Ricky bumped into him, and that's hey, but those
You
people.
finna sit here and say bumping into somebody warrants death.
And then I mean, old dog, they stare down in there, but at the end of the day, the conflict started when him and Ricky bumped into each other, and he was like, "Fuck you looking at, nigga." And then not old dog, sorry. Then Doughboy steps in,
Right.
and
So what did I just say? The action or inaction of Doe. Doe's the street nigga, not Ricky. So if you knew that was gonna grow into be a problem, you should have taken action and handled it right there. Ricky's not that guy. Bumping into somebody doesn't warrant a license to kill. You know what I mean? Like in that movie and in life in general, you're literally saying that bumping into somebody.
I'm not saying that.
Well, that's what you just said.
No, I'm saying that guy was foolish. So no matter what it was,
but those people exist, right?
No, 100%.
That's where that comes from. And when you live in that world, do it to them before they do it to you. So I'm saying the action or inaction, again, of Doughboy is what ultimately caused the demise of Ricky. If you want to say it's because he bumped into him, they were beefing before that. This didn't just happen because somebody bumped into him and then it turned to this deadly. They had a shootout in front of what? Was that the bowling alley or movie theater, wherever they came from?
Oh, yeah.
they
had a
just shot in the
shootout
area.
there.
So, but then my whole point is why not go get Doughboy and why get Ricky?
I'm sorry, what?
I said if there was the conflict beforehand, why not center it around Doughboy and you're actually looking for Ricky?
So the movie was made. The movie had to go with how a movie goes, right? And that's the ultimate setup. Like you see it coming, the glory, the hope, as you alluded to. The kid gonna make his way out. That's the one that has to die. That's how you pay the ultimate price.
He was
the
a hope for the community.
That's what
but
I'm
then
saying.
you had the hope in the individual.
Your point on that, you lose hope. There it is. He's gone. Right, and then obviously those guys are gonna meet their fate anyway.
Right.
So, and then also you know how it goes. We can't find you.
Next best thing.
I mean, they were out there. To I guess to go to my point, mine would so you have the decision making, but then just actions and consequences too. With all of that, the actions like you were just saying outside and the consequences it led to in Boys in the Hood, and then the action of Kane and Eileen's cousin, the consequences of that, and as you said, being in that life, not get to them before they get to you. Knowing that if you don't finish this, what may come on the other side,
right there,
and I think they would have had the grandfather not came outside.
Hey, yeah, and that's the thing. That's also how he's not of that life. Because granddad, I'm sorry, this gotta happen. This got to. So you can go back in and pray,
in the house.
or you can watch and be a witness. Because this nigga's not coming back to get me.
And his actions almost got all of them taken out. Ronnie's son is outside on the big wheel. She's inside, and they shot up the block.
You know what I mean?
Shot the block.
And to go back to he made the right decision. He just made it too late. So with those messages are definitely in there. And even though a lot of people in those environments, they feel like they have no other way out. But Trey was like, no, there's another way out, and I'm going to Atlanta. I'm going to Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm gonna invest in my future. Trey, what was the question that Kane's granddad asked him?
Do you care if you live or
die?
Do
you care? Trey cared whether he lived 100%. Or died. Kane didn't know, and it was that indecisiveness that ultimately led to his demise.
The fact he said, I don't know.
But it was but if you go back to that conversation that Kane, old dog, had on the couch with his grandfather, and the grandfather's explaining there's better than this, there's heaven, God is looking out. If God cares so much, why he leave us in this shit? Yeah. It's all fucked up out here. And this, that, and the third, right? But that's what it was. So when you ask, do you care if you live or die, bro? What can be worse than what we in right now? I don't know. What difference do it make?
Yeah.
That was how they felt. Whereas Furious let them know, boy, it's more to life than this shit. You know what I'm saying? So the direct differences between those ultimately shaped those individuals to one. He did make a choice, damn near too late, but the other one did make one, and it was too late.
It was too late.
So
comes down to hope. All right. So based on our 4 key elements, Boys in the Hood would come out on top, but I know.
It was some ties in there.
We had let me
No,
run
I'm
through
not talking
it.
about because there was one key element that wasn't in there, and the reason I'm throwing that one back in there is the tie is because the iconic scene that it's tied off.
Oh, okay.
I'm fucking with you. We can keep it
Yeah, I
at how
mean,
you had it.
if you count that, then it is a tie.
Then it is a
But if
tie.
we were going through story, performance, technical elements, and effectiveness, we had story went to Menace. You guys voted Menace. Performance went to Boys in the Hood. Technical element went to Boys in the Hood. Effectiveness
Oh, we didn't
seemingly was
vote
a
on
tie.
effectiveness.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
let's
So
vote.
effectiveness, I think, is a tie for me in
Yeah,
both
it's a tie.
movies. Because one, stay out of that life. Don't do that shit. You don't want to end up like, Kane or Old Dog, essentially. And then the same thing. There's hope. There's aspiration. There's a message. So much more that you were shown in Boys in the Hood. So the effectiveness of them both carried how they should have. So to me, it's a tie as far as effectiveness.
I agree.
Yeah.
Double feature? No?
Double.
Too much? Would you recommend this to someone as a double feature?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
100%.
absolutely.
I only ask because like I took a film class and it was called conversations with directors or something like that, and it was the basis of it was like pairing a Spike Lee movie with a Martin Scorsese movie and talking about how they are in conversation with each other, and basically how it's uh New York, the experience of New Yorkers told from two different perspectives. You got the Italian American born in the 40s versus the Black American born in the 50s or 50s. So all right, double
100%.
feature.
Because I mean, one takes place in South Central, one takes place in Watts. Came out 2 years later, but to Lloyd's point earlier, it's the other side of the coin. So it's like you have this, you have the, like I'll say, the hope for the community. He gets killed, then you go down the street, and these niggas over here have no hope. They don't have a Furious over here, and it's literally right on the doorstep, like your next door neighbor, a yard over. This is what they have, and it's the same.
Or if
The
they
same shit.
or if they do, because the Charles S. Dutton's character seemingly would be the Furious type
yeah.
character, but
His son didn't make it.
and his voice, at least the movie doesn't portray his voice as being large enough or loud enough,
Right.
as Furious in Boys in the Hood.
And he used to be one of them, and he turned his life around. Then he was getting the son out. I think they were going to Kansas or something like that, if I'm not
Something like
mistaken.
that.
Yeah, they were going
And
somewhere.
so he came from a path of, I used to be you. You can do this, and we leaving. You should come with us.
You should leave.
And then
too.
Ronnie was like, I'm going
leaving.
here. You should come with us. And he was torn between everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I know where I'm going.
I
I'm
know
getting
where the
to
fuck
Atlanta
I'm
ASAP.
going.
Let's pack.
What?
You know what? Fuck this. Let's just
Let's
go.
go.
We'll get some new stuff.
Well, and like to your point, what could be worse than this?
What can be worse? So you should go to see what's better.
Yeah.
If it
You
can't
can always
get
go
worse,
back.
You can always.
You could
go
always
back.
go back.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, with our collective voting, Boys in the Hood comes out
Boys
on
in the
top.
Hood comes out
But
on top.
I know you guys feel like
I
Menace
lean more to Menace.
is higher up or the superior film. So I just wanted to open it up to if there's any other reasons or rhymes as to why Menace, you feel Menace is the better film.
Just briefly for me, why I mentioned it I think 2 or 3 times. It felt more like they were set on delivering a message and giving us a raw look into this life and into this story, as opposed to making a movie that had these elements of raw life and of these communities. And I'm not knocking Boys in the Hood at all, but there just felt a bit much or a bit more realism to Menace and authenticity to me.
Okay.
Than Boys in the Hood.
Yeah, for me, to me, it's like they didn't try and polish it. Even though they made this movie, it was still just raw and gritty. And like what you see is what you get. I don't think it needed like, you know, like a lot of scoring. Like they played music. Yeah, they played music, but it wasn't like you know, the whole trend of saxophone. But it's like the music that they played in there was, you know, of the time. It didn't feel like, okay, let me polish it at the end and put a bow on it and present it. It's like, nope, this is the gritty street life. This is what it is. Here you go. When you try and make it out too late, after you did what you did and it comes back, this is how it is.
That's how life is. It's funny that you guys both talk about Boys in the Hood having this more polished feel, this more uh cinematic feel, and I think that's why Hollywood seemingly embraced Boys in the Hood a little bit more than Menace, because it was John Singleton is the first black director to be nominated at the Oscars. He still holds the record as the youngest, I believe, at the age of 24.
That's crazy.
No one white or black has broken that record. So, and then I believe he got a screenplay nomination. So I think his movie seemingly was a little bit more palpable for that white audience, the white gaze. So, and then you have a Menace that comes behind it, and just as critically acclaimed, they don't touch it. They don't touch it. They don't touch it. That's that. I think both films are great. I think the only reason why I would lean more towards Boys in the Hood is just because that's what I'm more familiar with. That's what I was exposed to more, and that's why I wanted to rewatch Menace a couple times before we sat down and recorded, because I don't remember being shown that film like as a kid. I think I came to Menace on my own, whereas Boys in the Hood,
we came to all that shit on our own.
Whereas Boys in the Hood was like on in the house, you know, somebody, maybe an uncle or one of my parents was watching it, and I watched it with them. So I think that's just my own bias, because they were both great films, very similar stories with different takes. So yeah. All right, well, together Boys in the Hood and Menace to Society offer complementary perspectives on black urban life in the early 90s. One mourns what is lost while insisting change is possible. The other documents a world where change arrives too late. Their enduring relevance lies in this tension between hope and despair, making them essential cultural texts rather than simply films about violence. Drop a comment and let us know what you think about both these films. And thanks for joining the Lock Picture Podcast. Until next time, remember, movies are when dreams and magic meet reality. Peace.